Hey guys, welcome back. Today we're going to be talking about people pleasing. Why do we do it and how do we stop? Now, people pleasing in itself isn't entirely bad. We all like to please the ones we love. It's bad when it starts to affect you negatively. You may notice these things started as a kid. You would try to please people in the playground, or you would try to make sure you didn't disappoint your parents. And it usually does stem from the home. It stems from your parents were either really hard on you, or you watched them please others a lot and not say no a lot. You may have been taught that you weren't allowed to say no. Your boundaries may have been disrespected. You most likely were not taught how to communicate and know that it's okay to say no. And it's okay to not have every single person like you. Because that's the thing with people pleasing. When you try to please everyone, you lose yourself. You become who everyone else wants you to be. And you completely don't have a grasp on who you are. You as a kid didn't know it was okay or normal to say no, so you never exercised that right to say no. Not only that, but you may have dealt with situations where you didn't have a lot of friends, and you may have had anxiety and you were just afraid if you didn't do what people wanted, you would be alone. So you can see where it comes from, but why do we people please? We will overly people please to avoid feeling bad. We may want to avoid fear of rejection. We don't want to deal with people not liking us or feeling isolated. We may do it out of fear of confrontation. We don't want to be confronted by others. That's scary. That makes us feel like we're in trouble. We may do it out of fear of disappointing others. We don't want to feel like we're letting anyone down. So we will people please to avoid those negative feelings. Another reason why we may people please is because we give to others what we wish others would give to us. So we will go out of our way because we wish other people would go out of their way for us. We will give things to other people because we wish they would give those things to us. It's subconsciously a way to maybe make it clear to people what it is that you want. You are subconsciously trying to let other people know that you wish they would do those things for you. Another reason why we people please is because we care too much about how we look. How will we look if we say no? How will we look if we don't do the certain thing? How will we look if we make people mad? Will it make us look bad? Another reason why we people please is because we feel validated in pleasing others. We feel validated when we make other people feel good. And a lot of times when you look for validation in others, it's because you have a hard time looking for validation in yourself. You have struggles with your own self-worth, and you have struggles with your own self-love. And so in order to cope with that, rather than looking at yourself, you'll look at other people to validate that you're good enough, you're worthy, that you're a good enough person. When they show they're pleased with you, that means you can be pleased with yourself. Another reason why we make people please is because we're trying to fill an empty space. We feel like something's missing. And in order to compensate, we'll fill it by overly taking care of other people. Or we'll fill it by doing what others ask in order to fill that hole. First step to stop people pleasing is to recognize how you feel. Before someone asks you to do something, is it something that you genuinely want to do, or are you doing it out of fear? weigh it on the scale of benefit versus hurt. If you do this thing, will it hurt you more or will it benefit you? If it's more likely to hurt you, then it's not good for you to do. As well as, you can not do something because you genuinely don't want to. That's a good enough reason. And you don't necessarily have to explain it to this person. You just let them know, hey, I can't do that. And the thing that it's important for you to understand is, or it's important for you to accept that not everyone's always going to be happy when you say no. And even if there aren't, it's not your job to make them feel better. If they give you a hard time, then they're not people that you really want in your life in the first place. Most of the time, people are understanding. They say, okay, sure, no problem, whatever. We build up this scenario in our head of how it's gonna go, and then when it happens, we're like, oh, it wasn't that bad. What was I thinking? So that's first, is to recognize how you feel and if it's something you want to do. The next thing is, give yourself permission to say no. Practice saying no. It's okay to say no to things that you can't or don't want to do. A lot of the times when we people please, we wind up just doing the thing we don't want to do, which is disappoint others, because we're trying to say yes to everyone. We make someone unhappy. So someone may want you to go to their softball game at 3, and someone wants you to go out to dinner at 3, lunch, whatever, and you say yes to both of them. You're going to make someone mad because you can't do both things. You can't make everyone happy, and that's something you need to accept within yourself. You can only focus on yourself and what you want to do, which is another thing, which is important to make sure you're doing things for yourself. Because at the end of the day, that's all who you have is yourself. You don't want to go about losing yourself, because that's when resentment builds and anxiety and depression. When you lose yourself, you don't make decisions for yourself. You make decisions based on what everyone else says. And then you wake up one morning and you're like, who am I? So set boundaries and teach people what you expect of them. You want to decide who you want in your life. You don't want life to decide who's in your life. That's you giving away your power and control. So the way to stop people pleasing is, 1, recognize how you feel and only do things when you want to, as well as when it won't hurt you. 2, set boundaries. Make sure you say no and stick to when you say no. Don't go back on your word, because then people will push you. 3, accept that you are not always going to make everyone happy, and that's not your job. Your job is to focus on yourself and your own life, and do things for others when you want, not because you feel like you're a slave to just taking care of everyone else. When you do say no, make sure that you comfort yourself, because that's really important. A lot of the times, like I had said in the beginning, you will try to avoid a bad feeling. Let yourself know that you're not doing anything wrong. You're doing the right thing for yourself. You're teaching people how you want to be treated. You are creating healthy boundaries, and you're living the life you want rather than the life everyone else wants you to live. Because clearly people pleasing is a way to avoid bad things, but it's also creating negative things in your life. So you need to do this for yourself so you can live in a more peaceful way and you feel strong and empowered saying no rather than being fearful and timid. So make sure you comfort yourself and you let yourself know, I'm doing the right thing. It's okay for me to say no. Like I said, it's still okay to say yes, but only when it has more benefits to it than it does hurting you. Thanks for joining me in my first video. Hurt you. No. Oh, God. Is there more benefit to doing it, or is there more hurt? If, for instance, if someone asks you for a ride and your boss says, hey, I need you to stay later, I'm a mess. And 4, why am I saying that? I don't know. Okay, I don't know how to end this, so I'm just gonna end it.